Raise your hand if all day long you are tired, positive you're going to immediately fall asleep tonight. Then your head hits the pillow and your brain starts solving the world's problems in overdrive. And chamomile tea is not going to cut it. You've already listened to a ton of experts who tell you, stay off your phone 5 hours before bed, because some of these you know, but you've just been ignoring them. If you too have tried all the conventional hacks and they just have not worked for you, these 11 not so obvious habits might be the reason why you can't get good sleep. All right, real talk, let's get to it. The first habit that might be keeping you up is breathing through your mouth. This is a huge one. I didn't realize that this was keeping me up. It was creating sleep disturbances for me for years, and I didn't realize it. And here's a couple of the reasons why. First of all, when we breathe through our mouth, which we might not know that we're doing, it's something you're sleeping. So how do you even know it's happening? I'll tell you how you know it's happening. If you wake up with a dry mouth, if you wake up and you've got bad breath, every time you go to the dentist, you're like, how do I have so many cavities? I am the queen of oral hygiene. You might be a mouth breather and you might be breathing through your mouth while you're sleeping. I didn't realize it. And then I started mouth taping at the suggestion of my dentist. My sleep improved and no more cavities. Another suggestion for you is to use a Xylomelt. Be careful because they are very poisonous to dogs, but I just put one Xylomelt in between my cheek and my gum. I will link them below in the show notes. They're great for you. They're great for your oral hygiene. They're great for your gut health. Xylomelts are fantastic, and you tend to keep your mouth closed and it keeps your mouth moist, which helps you to sleep better. The other reason why when we're breathing through our mouth, it creates sleep disturbances is because you're not getting proper nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is what we need to help regulate sleep. So I know this sounds crazy. Try mouth taping. I've done a whole video on it. You only have to mouth tape for 30 days or less. And I guarantee you're going to create the habit. I did. It works. It makes a huge difference. Okay, this next one, your husband did not put me up to it, but it is lack of physical touch. Getting in the habit of just rolling over and going to bed and not, enjoying yourself, shall we say, having a little adult time. And guess what? You can also have adult alone time, if you know what I mean. There's lots of toys available. If you haven't checked out any of the episodes that I've done with intimacy expert Susan Bratton, check those episodes out. The body produces oxytocin when we are intimate before we go to bed, which again, you can do this solo as well. But studies have shown you're going to get better sleep if you get your bone chicka bow wow on before you go to bed. And, if your husband hears this, I know he's going to use it against you in some way, shape, or form, as mine has. He's like, this is for your longevity. But I enjoy it too. And you will, especially if you understand how the body works, if your hormones are in balance, and you put a little effort into it, learn some of the things. If you're lacking that interest in intimacy right now before you go to bed, figure out why and what you can do about that, because it's something that's natural, it's normal, and you deserve it, and you're going to sleep better. Next is not supporting your hormone health. Now, assuming that you are a candidate for hormone replacement therapy, this is something I talk about all the time because the science has changed, the research has been updated, and if your doctor or clinician that you're seeing now says you're not a candidate, I would ask them what that's based on and if they're following the guidelines set by the Menopausal Society. Because so many women are candidates, but their doctors are operating off of outdated information. So I've done a lot of episodes on this topic. It's really important. It's huge when it comes to your sleep. Did you know over 80% of women who are not on hormone replacement therapies suggest that they have sleep disturbances? That's insane. That is probably why we tend to have higher rates of dementia and Alzheimer's. It's during sleep that our brains clean themselves, and you need sleep. And if you are deficient in progesterone and estrogen, you're going to have major sleep disturbances. In particular, progesterone. So taking progesterone just before you go to bed at night produces that natural release of GABA. And that's what helps to calm the body, to relax you, to make you feel sleepy. So consider talking to a clinician about your hormones, specifically if you're experiencing sleep disturbances and you're perimenopausal or menopausal. If you don't have a great clinician, I always suggest using a company called MIDI. It's a virtual health company. This is not a sponsored post. At least I don't think it is. I mean, they sponsor the podcast, but I'm talking about them right now just because So few people know where to go for hormone support. Anyways, Chalene.com/MIDI. If you're looking for a clinician, if you've got a doctor who understands hormone support, awesome. Talk to them about checking your hormone levels and see if, in fact, you are deficient in estrogen and progesterone, because that could be keeping you up at night. This next one could surprise you. I know it did me. I had been taking melatonin and a CBD product for many, many years, and it was working great for me. But then once I hit perimenopause, melatonin it made me have really weird dreams. I was waking up groggy. And so something that had been working for me suddenly wasn't. And then what did I do? Of course, I started taking more. And I think I was probably overdosing the melatonin. And so what I started doing, I take a supplement called Sleep Breakthrough now. I just take 1 scoop at night, and it helps me to stay asleep because it helps me to stay relaxed. So it's got L-theanine in it. It has magnolia bark, glycine, potassium, taurine, vitamin B, zinc, and a little bit of magnesium. Did I already say magnesium? But magnesium is another supplement that many people forget is super helpful when it comes to sleep. Now, melatonin might be your solution. I'm not suggesting that it's not. I'm just saying if you've been doing melatonin for a long time, consider changing up your sleep supplements. The next, not so obvious habit that might be interfering with you getting great sleep is having unstable blood sugar. What am I talking about? I'm talking about late night snacking. I'm talking about having cocktails before you go to bed. Anything that spikes your blood sugar. Spiking your blood sugar just before bed, you're going to know if this is happening because you're going to have that like 2 a.m. wake up call. And that's often because consuming anything that's higher in sugar, on the glycemic index, like carbs, even fruit, not just, things that are like obviously very sugary, but just anything that spikes your glucose can trigger adrenaline and cortisol, and that's going to wake you up in the middle of the night. So when in doubt, make sure you're doing low carb, or ideally just try to stop eating a couple hours before you go to bed. Okay, this next one, I know you've heard it a million times, and so have I, and that is not to be on your phone in your bed. Okay, listen, we've also heard not to be on your phone for a couple of hours before bed. I just wanted to make a compromise because I realize that's probably unrealistic, right? Most of us kind of need to be on our phones because, I don't know, TV's boring. TikTok's interesting. We like YouTube. You know what I mean? Like we like to be on our phones. Like that's our form of entertainment. So it's like telling people don't watch TV for several hours before you go to bed. Okay, that would work if we're Amish, but we're not. So we're going to be on our phones. But can we put them down when we go to bed? Here's what I've been doing. First of all, I am blind as a bat if I don't have my contacts in. So I need my little readers on to be able to see my phone. Well, if I don't have my readers near my bed, then I can't see my phone. So that's how I fix myself of this. I don't put my readers next to my bed anymore. I have to actually get up and get out of bed to look at my phone. It's a real deterrent. Listen, I don't know what you need to do, but if you can put your phone on airplane mode, because I like to use a white noise app. I like to play, it's actually brown noise. That helps me to fall asleep, and that helps me to get into the right state of mind. Because in order to fall asleep, we have to get our brains to shift into an alpha and theta brainwave state. And that's never going to happen when we're watching TikToks or YouTube or whatever it is on our phones that's entertaining us, because that keeps us in like a state of chasing. Like it sends off all of these neurons, our dopamine is activated, and your significant, your husband is asleep in 2 seconds, and you sit there awake going like, why can't I sleep? And I know I'm going to be tired and wired tomorrow. Put your phone away. Oh my God, before we go much further, please don't forget to subscribe, because studies have shown that if you subscribe to The Chalene Show, you automatically get better sleep at night. Don't question science. This next one was a healthy habit that I had to break myself of, so it's kind of surprising. Drinking water all day long, which seems like such a good thing to do, right? Like I always have my water bottle with me like 24/7. And when I think about what wakes me up at night, it's usually me waking up and going like, oh God, I have to pee so bad, but do I really want to get up? Do I want to? And then I have this battle with myself over and over and over, like, oh, am I going to wake up just get up and go to the bathroom? But recently I set a new habit where I stopped carrying around my water bottle after about 5 p.m. And it makes a huge difference. I'm not going to die of dehydration. It was just a habit I had to break because it was keeping me up at night. This one, I just got to shoot straight with you. It's alcohol. I know what you're thinking. Like, well, it helps me to relax. If I don't have alcohol, then I even have a harder time falling asleep. And frankly, that's something that I had convinced myself of too, but it's not true. And if you just look at your sleep scores on the nights that you consume alcohol versus the nights that you don't, it's a deterrent. Like, you really do understand how much it disrupts your sleep. Yes, it feels like it helps us to fall asleep faster, but you're not getting quality sleep. Period. End of subject. You are not cleaning out your brain the way you need to. Your sleep is still disrupted, and studies show that we don't get quality deep or REM sleep when we're consuming alcohol. Sorry. Number 10 is not making it freezing cold in your bedroom. I know. Some of you like the room at like 70 degrees, or you're cold when you go into bed and you want your slippers on and you want to be all cuddled up in your blankets and you want the room set at a comfortable temperature, but that's keeping you awake. A warm bedroom suppresses deep and REM sleep. Did you know that your body at your core temperature has to drop between 1 to 2 degrees in order to fall into deep sleep? That is why I highly recommend like making your room as cold as possible. So a couple ways you can do this. If you can't afford, say, what are those called? A chili pad or an 8 sleep pad. Oh my God, those things, they're expensive. Not gonna lie. I'll put a link below in our show notes. Love it. Love it. I heard other podcasters rave about it. I'm like, that is so expensive. It is. It's crazy expensive. But like, you sleep on it one night, you're like, how will I ever fall asleep in like my parents when I go to visit them in their spare bedroom? How will I ever sleep in a hotel again? Like, it's that good. Anyways, another thing you can do though is just get one of those tall, skinny fans. Whenever we do travel, even if we're going to be like in a hotel for like a week, I'll buy one of these fans. They're like $60. What is your sleep worth? It's priceless to get good sleep. So even if you're making the room really cool, sometimes the sheets can be warm. Sometimes it's the material that's keeping you warm at night, especially if you're having hot flashes. Our bodies just run hotter as we age. So make the room freezing cold. You will sleep better. And lastly, any kind of light whatsoever. I swear to you, I must have like super thin eyelids or something, because any teeny tiny little light, I can see it through my eyelids. And so because of that, I discovered from a friend of mine who's written a great book on sleep, Sean Stevenson of the Model Health Show. Shout out to Sean. Great book. And he told me about these like little tiny black peel away stickers. You can put them on everything. You can put them on, like, sometimes electronics, you don't notice how the light is going to keep you awake. It's a little green light or a little blue light. Any little dot of light, cover it up. Use blackout shades, whatever you have to do to make the room pitch dark, and I guarantee you're going to get better sleep. Those are the habits. Can you stick to them? I bet you can. It's worth it. Your brain health is worth it. You're going to look younger. You're going to feel more energized. Like when we were kids, we could fall asleep on a park bench with like a fruit roll-up stuck to our head. Now it's like you lay in bed and somebody could breathe in Portugal and you're up trying to solve the world's problems. I get it. I get it, girlfriend. We need better sleep. And the way we do this is by carefully examining the habits we have, which might be keeping us up late at night.